Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this laundry setup here with a laundry box which is to code. So what we have here is we have our hot, we have our cold, but there's no bumpers, there's no hammer resters on these things. So that's why I'm going to change it out. Our laundry drain here. So our drain comes up from the bottom. This is a clean out to send a cable or a snake down. This is our trap arm. This is our P-trap. So our trap arm here needs to be within a certain length. It can be too long and too short. We're not going to get into that on this video, but this above the trap is called an FOP, or a fixture outlet pipe. So this pipe for a laundry needs to be at least 2 feet long. If you have it any shorter, what you're going to have is foam from the detergent foam coming out of your pipe. So if this is too short, you're going to have foam coming out. If it's too long, you can siphon out your trap, and we'll get that into that on another video. So I noticed that the stem here is leaking on this valve. And I know this, when I change this hose, this is leaking as well. So what I'll do is I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's leaking. So we have our fixture outlet pipe. This is our P-trap or trap. This is our trap arm. This pipe here, this is our vent. This here is an air admittance valve. So the inspector allowed me to get away with doing this instead of hard piping it to the roof. The reason I didn't want to hard pipe it to the roof is because I would have to make a hole there, and then downstairs, this whole system would need to be put back together. And it was just not worth the time and effort. So this plug here, I moved this yesterday. As you can see, it was here. So I moved that yesterday. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go see the tools and material that we need to do this job. Alright guys, so this is the tools and the material that we're going to need to do this job. So first of all, here is our laundry box. So our laundry box has our hot and cold valves. So this is the hammer arrestor, or bumper, what we call it in the trade. What it has is a piston inside, and then as the water comes up and it suddenly gets shut off, the piston will compress the spring, and that'll take up the shock of the water. This is the plate. It's a trim plate for if you're going to mount it in the wall. I don't need it on this job. These are wings that you can put right here, and the idea is you snap them all the way down, and then the holes go into a stud. So our fittings, we're going to have two 45s, ABS 45s. This is a bushing. The bushing is going to fit in here. We have a little bit of pipe because we have to offset the FOP. So this is meant for 2-inch, but since I have 1.5 inch, that's what this sleeve is for. We call it a bushing. This is our glue. It's ABS glue. Guys, black pipe is ABS, white pipe is PVC. You will see PVC on another job. ABS glue is always yellow. I use a glue pot. This is what I was doing in the trade, so this is what I'm going to use, but I wanted you guys to just to have an opportunity to see what it looks like. This is my PEX tray. So rings. We're going to be transitioning from copper to plastic. So we have PEX pipe here. And then these are our Sweat by PEX adapters. This is a 1/2 inch. So you solder this side, and then the PEX will be on this side. So the copper will be down here, and then we're going to transition into PEX. These are caps in case I want to turn the water back on, or I need to turn the back on. Soldering, we have flux here. We have Aquasol solder. This is lead-free solder. These are tubing cutters, and this is a reamer. We have sandcloth for our pipe. We have safety glasses, earplugs. Guys, these are crimpers. The crimpers are for the rings. You will see when we get there. These are plumbing specific tools. This one here opens like scissors. This one is squeezing type. I prefer this this set, but there are times when I need this to be in a smaller space. PEX crimps is a great idea, but you need space to work. So instead of using the tubing cutters, I'm going to use a grinder to cut the pipe. I'll still need the tubing cutters to remote the pipe, but I noticed this is a lot faster. This is my pouch that has my hand tools, has measuring tape, and then anything else I might need. My cordless kit is here, which has all these tools. Guys, I always bring these tools with me because I need them. More than likely for one thing or another. This here is a B tank. This is, the actual torch here is a turbo torch. That's what it says right there. So this is an acetylene tank. Acetylene is the hottest flame that I know of, so that's why we use acetylene for soldering. You guys can also braze where it's like 2000 degrees, but soldering is really low key. It's only 400 degrees. And then this is my finishing kit where I have my brushes. And then I just have my general tools for plumbing. There's a basin wrench, box end wrenches, crescent wrench. This is stuff that if I'm going to go do a faucet or something for somebody, this is the stuff that I'm going to take. So guys, this is the material and the tools that we're going to need to do this job. So once again, once this job is over, what I'm going to do is a breakdown of time and material, and we'll see how this goes. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is shut our hot and our cold off. It doesn't matter which order you do this in. As you can see that the valve is leaking horribly. Good time to replace it. And then our cold. Alright, so we'll take our cold line off. Guys, always have a bucket because there's going to be water on this side too, so we don't want to make a mess, especially if we're at somebody's house. Alright, you guys can see that the valve is leaking, so this valve no longer holds tight, which I already knew, so we'll take off our hot. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go shut our water main off. Guys, so this is our water main. So our water main comes through the wall here. It 90s up. This is our main house shutoff valve. And then here, this top part this is our PRV. So guys, we have 100 pounds city pressure coming up through here into our PRV. And then on the top side of our PRV, right there, it comes out this way at 65 pounds. So what I did here was, I soldered on a 1/2 by 3/4 T. So the hose bib, which is this here, goes out to the front of the house. This is at city pressure, so this will be between 90 and 100 pounds. So for washing your car, really, this is what you want to have. So guys, this is a ball valve. When the handle is parallel with the pipe like this, it means the ball valve is open. And now we have shut off water to the house. So we're going to see if this thing is holding tight. I'm pretty sure it is still holding tight. So we'll head back to the laundry and see what it looks like. Alright guys, so the main is now shut off. As you can see that the water is still trickling, so maybe that the valve is not holding tight anymore. Don't worry, I do have a solution to this problem as well. So what we'll go do is we're going to go open a fixture downstairs, and all the water will drain out through the bottom, and then we're not going to have anything up here. So we'll go do that now. Alright guys, so this is our kitchen sink. So our laundry is just up here. So I know that our water pipe comes across here, it tees down. So because the main doesn't seem to be holding tight anymore, what we're going to do is we're going to open the hot and cold And anything that is still going through will drip through here, and then that's going to allow us to solder upstairs. Alright, so what we're going to do is pull the tape off our foam. This is an insulation. I had one of these, or both of them, blew out, oh my god, 10 years ago. And this is an uninsulated space. It's not exactly the proper way to do this, but I mean, for what I have to work with here, this was the best solution. Are hot and are cold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off down here on both sides. Alright guys, so we're going to cut our water pipe, our copper line. So when we cut it, let's cut it at the same height so it looks better. Again, safety glasses, gloves, hearing protection. Let's stay safe here. So I actually left these two strapped to the blocks that I have here. I left them strapped so it'll hold it in place for me when I do this. So guys, some water may come out of it, we'll see. It depends on if it's sloping backwards or not. So alright, so those are our cut lines. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to unscrew both of these, and then we are going to pull them out. Alright, so we'll remove our hot, and then we're going to take away our cold. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I want to cut this block. I'll probably cut it right here. So we have two nails here. We have a nail here, a nail here, a nail here. What that means is here there is a stud going all the way down, and that's what these two nails are here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sawzall. I'm going to make a mark, cut this here. I'm going to cut through the block first, and then I'm going to take these nails out. The reason I'm going to cut the block first is because that's going to hold this block on for me. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll take our speed square, and I want the edge of the box to be closer to here, so we'll make our mark. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our Sawzall, and we are going to cut the block. Alright, I'm not sure if I went all the way through. Yes, I did. Alright, so guys, we have nails here. This is the block I put on last time. Here we have screws. One reason why I prefer to use screws over nails is because all I would have to do is take this off and we'd be done. But because this has nails, and these are 3-inch spikes, what I'm going to do is I need to pull these two out. So, what we don't want to do is we don't want to put our nail bar or our hammer here and start tearing away at this, because we're going to damage this. Since this block is going to go, what we're going to do is we're going to take the nail bar, and then we're going to pull this off here, pull this off here, and that's going to keep this backwood nice and clean. Oh, since we're here, we might as well pull this out too. This is the strap that was holding up our trap arm. Okay guys, that is a 3-inch spike, 3-inch nail. We call it a spike. Now you can see that this is already pretty well loose, so it's probably loose enough that we can just lightly pry it off. Alright, there goes our block. We're going to grab the laundry box, and then we're going to see what it looks like right here. Oh, since I'm already here right now, I might as well take the screws off and pull this off. Alright, we'll take our block off. Alright guys, this last screw is really stripped, so we'll just pull that off. These actually look like they are 4-inch screws. Alright, so now that we have a space for our box to go, we'll grab our box and see what it looks like. Alright guys, so we have our laundry box here. So that is what I want to have happen. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to glue in the bushing, and we're going to put our valves in. So I think what I'm going to do in this case is, because our cold is there, our hot is there, so I think I'm going to put the drain right in the middle, and then have our hot here and our cold here. What I may actually do is, I might just cut this down a tiny bit and just glue it directly. Maybe we won't need the fittings. This is one reason why I say, always buy more than what you think you need, because if you don't actually use something, you can just take it back to the store. If you need it and then you don't have it, that becomes a bigger issue. Alright guys, so this is how these go on the box. So, cold is always on the right. So you have these couple little wings here that go into the notch. You see it right there? So what you do is go and then turn, and it should click in. Maybe this style doesn't. And then we have our hot. So guys, hot's always on the left. As far as I know, North America, that is the way it goes. So we'll take it, we'll turn them in. So that is what it looks like. And now our bushing will go into the bottom right here. Guys, stickers like this, always make sure you remove it. It's a pretty stupid reason to have a leak if you leave your sticker on. So what we'll do is we'll glue that in, and then we'll continue. Alright, so we have our bushing. That's where we're going to glue it in. So guys, like I said, this is contact cement. It's not glue. So for this stuff to work, what you need to do is you got to glue both sides. You don't have to go crazy about this. A dry spot right there, we'll just touch that up. So that is good right there. We'll do the box. Alright, so what we're going to do is push this in. Guys, make sure that this is the bottom where it has a ring on the inside. The outside is different. You can see it right there. Make sure you don't glue it in backwards, otherwise you're going to be hooped. So once you get it in, make sure that you turn your bushing or whatever it is, ABS. Always give everything a quarter turn. That's what it looks like. And now what we're going to do is just wipe up the glue. Guys, this stuff sets up really quickly. I'd say within 20, maybe 30 seconds, it's going to be good to go. Alright guys, so here's our pipe. If you're ever cutting ABS, the burrs right here, make sure that you always wipe the burrs off. I've had leaks through the burrs when it's all ABS anyway, but make sure that you always wipe it off. I highly recommend using gloves as well, because like I said, if you get a cut and you get glue in the cut, it's gonna sting. You're gonna know it. So as a good practice, always use gloves. So what we're going to do now is we are going to glue our bushing. Again, it's not necessary to make a mess out of it. And now we have to glue the top of our pipe. Once again, we'll put it on and we're going to give it a turn. Now guys, in this case, you need to look at the wall from the top. When you do this, make sure that your box is nice and flush to the wall. What you don't want is having your box like this, because it'll just look terrible. This is what our box looks like. We'll see from the side. It's slightly out. The trap down here is slightly farther out. We'll actually just put a level on it. So you guys see, that is how much the box has to come off the wall to make this plumb, to make it straight. Guys, again, I did plumbing for 15 years professionally, so for me, my pipes being straight and neat looking, it does matter. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go grab a piece of plywood. We'll put it in the back to space it out. And then what we'll do is we'll put a couple screws into it. Alright guys, so what I did is I strapped the trap up. I just reused the same trap. So what we want to make sure is that our trap arm has grade. Do you see the bubble, how it's across the line? That is what level is. So what that means is this side is slightly higher. Remember, water flows downhill. So now that we have grade on that, we're going to take our piece of plywood. Guys, I just found this in the garage. I didn't even cut it. So we're going to take our piece of plywood and then we're going to throw it in behind our box. So what we're going to do is our fixture outlet pipe, the vertical black pipe here, we are going to straighten it out so it's nice and plumb. And then what we're going to do is we're going to screw the laundry box through the plywood into the wall, and that should keep this nice and solid for us. Alright, so I'm going to try to do this one-handed. So our pipe is straight. Next thing what we want to do is make sure our laundry box is level. Right there it's level. Right there it's straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 1.5" screws to go through 1/2 inch of plywood and then another 1/2 inch of plywood. Okay. Looks good, seems solid. Alright, so now what we have to do is finish our water pipe connections. So we have our 2 connections here. They're going to go up here. So because I used the grinder, what we have is little bits here. You can see it right there. So what we need to do is we need to take a file and then file that off. And then we also need to take our reamer, which is on our tube cutters, and then we'll put the reamer on the inside, and then we are going to ream this out. Alright guys, so our reamer is the triangle. So all you do with the reamer is just put it in and turn. The reason you need to do this is to maintain or get the inner diameter of the pipe back to the same size as it is here. If you create a bottleneck, what you're actually going to do is wear out your pipes even faster. Okay, so we ream those out, guys. Now, flat file. So guys, this is not a saw, it's a file. What you do is you only use the front end like that. You don't do it like this because you're going to destroy your file. Alright, so now that these are both reamed out, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our sand cloth and then we're going to clean on the outside. And then what we also have to do is clean our adapters, our Sweat by PEX adapters. Alright guys, so here is our sand cloth. All we're going to do is clean the very first 1/2 inch. It doesn't matter if you clean more than that. Guys, one other thing. When stuff gets old, it breaks easy. Don't start doing this if you can at all avoid it, because the last thing you want to do is have to go fix something else. Yeah. Alright guys, so we have our Sweat by PEX adapters. These are brass. So we have our 1/2-inch fitting brush. These are brand new, so you really don't need to clean them all that much. Okay, so we're probably good right there. We'll take some paper towel, just wipe up the ends. Guys, if your pipe is wet, you have to wipe it off because the flux is not gonna sit properly. Now, I should have a fitting brush, but also why I use gloves. So put a little bit on your finger. Guys, this is an acid. So when you do your sand cloth, that is physical cleaning. This is chemical cleaning. You don't need a lot of flux on it. Just a skim coat is fine. Okay, that's probably good right there. And now, so it should slide right on. There we go. If it doesn't slide on, that means you have a burr or there's something that is stopping it. So it could be that the pipe is out of round. It could be a burr. But these things should just slide on. There shouldn't be any difficulty with doing it. Alright, so those are our adapters. Right there and there. You can actually see somebody right here. They torched the wall. So what I'll do is I'll get the torch ready, and then we'll get our solder. Alright guys, so when we do this, we're going to aim the flame away. Actually, in this case, I'm also going to try to aim it up so I don't set this thing on fire. So, really, you don't want to leave your flame in one spot. You want to try to move it back and forth. Because I have a wall here, this is going to make it a little more difficult. Your solder is very flexible, so you can turn it into a hook. So when you do your soldering, always start touching in the back and then come to the front. Because this is on a vertical, this is the toughest to make it look nice. So if you start in the back, then any drip that you have will more than likely be in the back, so it'll look better. Guys, one other thing. Always have water on hand. I have water here, but have a spray bottle. Have water in case you set something on fire. If you're working in a wall or a tight space, that is going to be much more difficult than it is, so I don't anticipate any problems, but just in case, I do have water right there. So guys, always, once you're done soldering, let it cool down for about 20 or 30 seconds. The last thing you want to do is when your joint is still wet, you want to start to mess with it because you can get a leak. Alright, so this is a key thing with soldering. Now, we want to clean this up. We need to get the flux off. So what we're going to do, in this case, I just have a paper towel. We're going to get our paper towel wet. It doesn't have to be soaked. Guys, even just damp is fine. And then wipe all the way around your solder joint. So the key thing is, your rag, your paper towel, whatever it is, it needs to be wet because it's not going to clean off the flux. If you don't clean off your flux, it's going to turn green, but even worse than it looking bad, it's going to be a catalyst for corrosion. It's going to corrode a lot faster if you don't clean it off properly. Alright guys, now it's time for a water pipe. So I've crimped the bottom already on the hot side. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put our thumb in line, and then we're going to cut it. These are PEX cutters. They came from my pouch. Okay, so we have that done. And now we're going to put our ring over it, push it all the way on, and then what you want to do is you want to leave a little gap for your ring. I'll show you guys once I'm done. So, crimpers, like scissors. Okay, one thing about these rings, sometimes they can slide up and down. Alright, so our water pipe is now connected back together. So this is what it looks like. You want to leave a gap. And then when you crimp it, you want it to be straight. You don't want it to be off on an angle. So that is done. That is done. Down here is done. What we're going to do now is we're going to go and shut off, or sorry, we're going to turn on our water and test everything. So this is open. That is closed. These are called quarter turn valves. Again, just by the position of the valve, you can tell if it's open or closed. And then our fixture outlet pipe is here. So we'll go now, turn on our water, and see if we have any leaks. Alright guys, we're back at our main. So when you turn your water on, you never want to just take your valve handle and crank it all the way on. You always want to just do it slowly. You want to fill your house up slowly. Listen for the water, you'll hear it. Okay, so we're going to let this go until the PRV here with the tag. Once that is silent, we know our system is pressurized. But until then, just let it do its work, because when your house gets older, you need to refill slowly. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you can develop pinhole leaks in your pipes. So just like anything else, instead of shocking the system, we're going to allow the system to refill nice and slow, and then we won't have any problems. When we are nice and full, the water main here will be silent, and then I'm going to open the valve all the way, and then we'll be done. So we'll go back and check for leaks now. Alright guys, we're back here at the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the valve slowly, and you're going to hear the air. And then at some point, I'm going to start to get wet because I'm standing right in line, but... Okay, so we now have water here. Again, we're going to get air first. Okay, so now that we have water here, we're going to go back down to the main, and it should be silent. Alright, so we're back at our main. As you notice, it's silent. That means everything has been repressurized. So now the valve here, we're going to open it the whole way. Okay, so guys, keep in mind, there's going to be air depending on where you did the work. It could be at other fixtures as well. The kitchen that I used to drain out the laundry, there will be air there too. So what we're going to do is go and connect their hoses, put any clips, do any last things, and then we're going to start cleaning up. Alright guys, this is our finished product here. So I put the cover on. 2 screws, we have backing. We'll turn our cold on. Right, so our cold is on. I strapped this up here so it would stay in one spot. So the last thing I'm going to do is, for these lines, I'm going to put a foam insulation on it. So we have 2 talons, 2 water pipe clips. So everything looks nice and symmetrical. Our trap is nice and strapped up. Everything looks good. Alright guys, so we're done now. So the material cost. The laundry box was about $60. And then the other stuff, like the bushing, the few fittings, the glue, I would say everything together was probably about $90. The laundry box was the single biggest thing. The amount of time it took me to do this was probably about an hour and a half. This job takes more tools, but it's definitely something that you can do on your own. I don't see why you couldn't, especially if you follow what I have done here. So other than that, job well done. Everything looks good. No leaks, no fuss, no muss. Guys, please hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next project.